life after becoming a business owner. Okay, so I'm gonna try not to talk for like 2 hours on this because I think I've told you guys before that my favorite aspect of this is getting in and seeing, what we can improve on with a business, doing branding, doing marketing, seeing what unnecessary expenses we can cut out, and just overall coming in and making the business better. That is my absolute favorite thing to do. So I will try to keep this at an hour's length here, and we'll dive right in. So you guys have heard me say it before. Security is always number one priority. So Oliver, China, Jeff, make sure that you guys, when you close on these businesses here soon, that is your number one priority. And some of this I may have already put, in the course and everything, but a lot of it I have not. And it's not just for obvious reasons, but it could end up saving you a lot of money in the long run. And I've shown this video before, but I want to show it again because it just really shows like how important security is. So this happened, it was actually just about a year ago now. It was like March 24th when this happened last year. Or no, I'm sorry, the date's the 23rd. So we're almost a year of this happening. And I got a call. I was at my sister's engagement party. Got a call that when my employees went there to do their daily tasks, they were like, hey, your vacuum's laying on the ground. We don't know what happened. Can you come check the cameras? So I went out and checked the cameras, and this is what we ended up finding. Thankfully, I had the camera footage of this, or else I probably would have gotten no insurance money. So this car runs in, knocks my vacuum clean off, ended up getting $12,000 worth of insurance money for that. Had to rebuild that pedestal there. They had to tear it down, had to get a new light. The vacuum actually still worked somehow. I just had to get the mechanic to rewire it a little bit. But I would have not known what had happened, whether this was like a car that did this, someone did that, turning a trailer into one of the bays, or for all I know, a semi truck could have been trying to turn around. So luckily I was able to take this video and just submit it straight to this guy's insurance company. And they didn't even fight me on it because they couldn't really, right? I had this evidence. And the guy, after he hits the vacuum, pulls over to the other vacuum and just starts vacuuming his car like nothing even happened. Didn't reach out to me, didn't leave a note, nothing. So I instantly got my check from them, which was great. Got to do some improvements with that. And thankfully, it was all thanks to my security cameras I was able to get that. My two favorite brands are Night Owl and Arlo. I prefer wired cameras, even though they are kind of a pain to install. I just don't like to rely on the Wi-Fi, because when the Wi-Fi goes down, if you only have the Wi-Fi cameras, then you're kind of out of luck, right? So even if you're out of town or something and your Wi-Fi acts up or whatever, you're not going to have any of that footage rolling, and you definitely need to make sure you have that. So let's get into some tax stuff. Keeping up with expenses is extremely important. So you got to keep that business and personal income and expenses separate at all times. And this was something I was not very good at before, and I have gotten good at now, is just staying organized, keeping my books up. Because, right now we're in the thick of tax season, and even little things that I didn't keep up with or record, even though I do a great job now, it's just such a pain when my accountant's asking me for something and I got to go back and try to find it or try to remember what date I did this on or that on. So definitely make sure that you're keeping good records. And as a lot of you guys know, so many of these sellers don't have good, clean, proper financials when you go to buy their business. They're very interested in selling, but they've done an awful job at keeping up with it. So you know how you don't want to be with that. So definitely make sure you're doing that. And you can open a DBA account, like doing business as your business name. You can open up a small business account at like a local credit union or a bank. Each bank, each credit union has those different options for bank accounts and different features for each thing depending on what it is you're going to be doing with your business, how you'll be doing it. Are you going to have employees there that come by and do your daily tasks? Are you going to be doing the daily tasks? All that good stuff. And you can even get like business checks and things like that as well. And yes, you can watch the recording. I drop those in Voxer, so I'll be glad to send you any of those that you missed. And I'll definitely be sending this recording out as well. If they already have security cameras, that's awesome. Just make sure that they're not just security cameras that are recording to a DVR and that you can actually see what's going on your phone. Trust me, you're going to want to be able to pull those up on your phone anytime that you need to. Also, track your mileage for write-offs, okay? Like if you're going to Home Depot to get something for the business or anything related to the business, track those miles. Mile IQ and Trip Log are really good apps for doing that. It like automatically senses when you're driving, and so you can get in there and it's like swipe right if it was a business trip, swipe left if it was for personal use. And so it makes it really easy. It'll say like, hey, you did a trip 36 miles at, noon today. Was this business or personal? And then you can just mark all that as personal or business. And at the end of the year, print out all the drives that were for business and send that to your CPA, and he or she can just take care of that. It makes it so easy. It is well worth the $4 a month that some of these apps will cost you. Definitely consult with a CPA about the best business structure for you based on your state. So I'm in Tennessee right now. I'm planning on moving to Texas this year. So I've got some tax strategists that I work with, and right now, being in Tennessee, an LLC is really the best structure for me. But when I move in Texas, really an S Corp is probably going to be the best thing for me to move to. So that's always a really good thing to plan ahead for, depending on what your state, what your long-term goals are, what your portfolio looks like, and stuff like that, depending on what you should put your assets under. And then I am huge on credit hacking. I love credit hacking. A lot of people are kind of afraid of credit cards, or some people might not know if they're disciplined enough to handle a credit card. But if you are someone who can, stay on top of those and pay stuff off, throwing expenses on a credit card and paying those off before any interest hits is just an ultimate hack. Like I have a ton of free travel just because I've been able to utilize credit cards, sign up bonuses, and I've been very smart with paying them off before all this interest accrues as well. So I'm going to give you guys some of my favorite business credit cards. And this right here is really good, like if you just got a business, because it's not going to charge you an annual fee. It's 0% interest for 12 months. So that's really nice to have. You can put, like if you don't have a lot of cash up front and you just bought a business and you're like, oh yeah, I could really use $4,000 or $5,000 for just sprucing the place up or doing some repairs, put that on that card and then pay that off before that interest hits. And it's wonderful. And then you're getting those Amex points as well that you can redeem for travel. So that's the Amex card that I really like that I've used in the past. The Chase Inc. Business Unlimited is also really good. No annual fee, 0% interest for 12 months. You guys might want to take a screenshot of that. And they have a lot of different benefits too. Like it's not just that much, right? It's not just 0% for 12 months. You can also get like special discounts like I think Amex does one where they give you a credit for Dunkin' Donuts every month, like a $7 credit. So if you are going to get one of these, be sure to go in there and read about all the different discounts and benefits you get and really take advantage of it. This is the card I use now. And nowadays, I'm more into getting cards that have really nice sign up bonuses. So the other two don't really necessarily have like the greatest sign up bonuses, but these do. So whenever you sign up for the Delta Sky Miles Amex Business Gold Card, you get the 90,000 bonus miles. Now you got to spend 6 grand in like, yeah, 6 months for this one. But if you can plan ahead and use that and get that sign up fee, that's like a couple nights free in a hotel somewhere. That could pay a portion of a airline ticket. So utilize those credit cards. If you're going to be spending the money anyways, you might as well get the free points and stuff. And then, there is a $150 annual fee, but what you could do is just cancel that after the first year if you don't want an annual fee, or keep the card open. I really enjoy this card, and I'll probably stick with it for a while. So let's get into pricing and competitive strategy. So whenever you get your business, right, you can adjust the pricing, but do it gradually instead of just jumping up to adding on a whole dollar onto somebody. And make sure, that your services are worth what it is you're charging. But that's definitely a way for you to come into this and right off the bat be making more income. And make sure you are looking at what your competitors are charging as well. Drive around to different laundromats in the area. Drive around to different car washes. How much are they giving you for $2? Is that 5 minutes? Are you having to pay $6 for this size washer, but you're having to pay $12 for this size washer? Just really compare. I like to be a little bit cheaper than the competition, or even if I am the same price, giving more time, stuff like that. So get ideas from competition, see what works, and then also see what it is your competition's doing and see how you can do it better as well. Also, make friends with other local business owners, collab with them. You can do referrals. One really good thing, and I think I have this later on in the presentation, but I want to talk about it now in case I don't. Like, for example, if you buy a car wash, right, you can go and get contracts with the police station and offer discounts to the officers for washing their cars there. So you're still charging them. You just don't have the same margins as you do for like other customers. You're kind of giving back to them, showing appreciation for that. One really, really good hack is if you have a car dealership near you, taking some coupons or like gift cards. Like, for example, if you have credit card readers, normally you can order these things called one-time use cards. And it's essentially just like a gift card that they can use one time, gives them a free wash. So you can order some of those, take them down to the dealership and say, hey, give these to anybody that buys a new car from you guys. So that's a really good way to try to acquire more customers. And there's no better time to try to get somebody through your car wash doors than when they're buying a brand new car, because that's when everybody wants to take care of their car the most. They're really proud of it. They're going to try to keep it clean. Unlike a car that maybe they've owned for 10 or 15 years and the new is worn off and they don't really care about it anymore. So that's a really good strategy for that. For laundromats, pick up contracts with nursing homes, hotels, fine dining restaurants, stuff like that, that have a lot of laundry to do, but may not have that in-house. Do something like that. That's a really good missed opportunity a lot of people overlook. Again, if you're making a big purchase like I just talked about with the credit cards, and man, I got to buy a new air compressor or something like that, try to throw that on a credit card and get that big sign-up bonus and get some free travel. It's worth it. Even if you don't want to travel, you don't like to travel, you can usually cash that in for credits on your statement as well. And track costs to find savings. So like if a goal of yours is to replace the lights, and you see that you can get the solar lights or you can just get the normal, electric lights, it's really a good idea to invest in the solar lights, and that's going to save you money normally in the long run. And in some different states, you can also sometimes get some different tax benefits for buying solar lights instead of the electric. So check into that as well, and it may just really benefit you all around to do something like that whenever it comes time to maybe upgrade your lighting or you're wanting to add more lighting as well. Finance new equipment when necessary. So specifically kind of for laundromats there, don't be afraid if you're buying a laundromat and the equipment's starting to kind of get old, or maybe after a couple years you're starting to see that you've been replacing a lot more parts. Go ahead and finance some new equipment. Don't be scared of that. A lot of people try to prolong that as much as they can, but you will find a lot of times if you do a retool, aka getting new equipment, it's going to attract more customers and you're going to save so much money, not only by reducing those repair costs that those old washers and dryers were costing you, but also the improved efficiency from using less water, less electricity, less gas on those machines is going to save you in the long run as well. So do not be afraid to finance new equipment. Obviously, we want to make sure you're in a good position to do so, but don't just keep putting it off because you're scared of that, or you're scared that it's not going to be worth it, that you're not going to see any benefits of it. You will definitely see benefits from doing that if you so choose to do so. So let's talk about the customer experience and convenience, okay? So these are some tips that I unfortunately learned the hard way that I want to give to you guys so that you can prevent the same mistakes that I went through. So always make sure you have backup parts in stock. Okay, if something goes down, the quicker you can get it back up, the better the customer experience is going to be. And it's just really good business practice to do this anyway. So I have always got a stockpile of backup parts. Now, I may only have one extra part at a time. I don't go and order 10 things that, I might not replace for 2 years. That doesn't make much sense. But I always have an extra part available. That way, if I can, if I need to use that one, I use it, and I immediately will go home and order another part, that same part. So I just constantly have that in stock because I cannot stand for stuff to be down. It's just like such a pet peeve of mine. And if you have a laundromat, for example, with 40 washers and 40 dryers, and 2 of those are down, it's not going to be the end of the world because very rarely are you going to have the whole entire place just full, all the washers and dryers being used. Same with a car wash. If you have 8 bays, 1 bay's down, there's still 7. It's just a huge pet peeve of mine to even have anything out of order. So I take that very serious, and I would recommend all of you guys to do that as well. It'll just really make your business a lot more efficient and make you look a lot better as a business owner as well. If you don't have credit card readers, those I do highly recommend those, but that may be something that you want to invest in on down the line because they do cost a little bit of money. At least have 2 change machines, okay? 1 is not enough, and you may even want to have a backup on hand. That's what I do now. I kid you not, I had both of my change machines go out at the same time one time. And this was before I had any credit card readers at this location. So I was like panicked. I was like, I literally don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I'm going to have to get a lawn chair and sit down here and hand out quarters to people. Like, I'm going to have to be a change machine. Luckily, I was able to call American Changer and get at least one of them halfway functioning enough until I could order a brand new one. And I will never, ever make that mistake again. I now have, I think I've got 2 backups for that specific one, just because it was, that absolutely scarred me. So please don't make that mistake. Always make sure that you have at least 2 change machines, and make sure you've got multiple backups, even if you do only have 1 for the time being. So with laundromats specifically, this is a major key that a lot of people don't think about. I recommend you do a fill line on the laundromat doors, okay? Because what happens is, obviously this doesn't need to be filled to the brim, but you've got people that will come in and they'll put 209 pieces of clothing in one washer or one dryer, and then it either messes it up or they complain to you when they've stuffed it full of wet clothes in the dryer that your dryers are crap, they're not working right, they want their money back for that. And in reality, it wasn't really anything that you did, it was just that they filled it up way, way, way too much. So I highly recommend doing a fill line for your washers and dryers. It will save you a lot of heartache. In the end, that's another thing that a lot of people don't think about until it happens. So highly recommend that. Also, laundromats get hot, very hot, especially with all those dryers going. Like, you walk in there on a Sunday and you can't even hardly breathe when you walk in that laundromat. So install fans and or tint the windows for comfort. That's just going to make your customer experience that much better. And if you can afford to do both, I highly recommend you do both. Plus, the tinted windows really give a nice look to it as well. Bigger washing machines are more popular. So if you are financing some new equipment, you're looking to retool, go big. Don't be like, oh, I don't think anybody's going to ever use an 80-pound washer. Trust me, they will. You don't have to have tons and tons of them, but I do recommend having at least 3 or 4 80-pound washers if you've got the space. Those will definitely come in handy. They love those things. And make sure you buy some really nice out-of-order signs. That's another pet peeve of mine is, having like a Post-it note duct tape on a washer or a dryer or something that's just written in a Sharpie out of order. Yes, it gets the job done, but it just doesn't look professional. So you can buy out of order signs for literally like $10 a piece. So just have some of those in stock. That's just something that, again, is just going to kind of help you look more professional. And one of those things that I see happen way too often that just doesn't give your business a good look. So with car washes specifically, if you have a self-serve car wash or even an automatic with some self-serve bays built on it, self-serve car washes are all about the show, okay? So I know I talk about this guy a lot. My coworker, when I had my real estate license at Keller Williams, and I helped him get his first car wash, he is like the poster child for what not to do. But he's so funny because he just does not care. Like, me and him are so opposites. I pay attention to like the utmost detail of things, and he could not care less. And he knows it too. So what he has started doing, and he just told me this like a few months ago, and my jaw almost hit the floor. He's buying some kind of soap for his car wash from some lady that makes it out of her house. I don't even know what like the pH of this is or if it's even like car wash grade soap. But he's buying this soap from this lady and he's using the same kind of soap for every single function that he has. So it comes out of the tire cleaner looking the same. It comes out of the foam brush looking the same. It's literally all the same soap. And for example, with self-serve, your tire cleaner should be the most potent chemical that you have because it's got to fight through brake dust, stuff like that. And most of the mud and stuff are going to be on your wheels and tires. So that's always very important to make sure you have really good tire cleaner. So he is using the same soap and there's no bright colors. You can't even tell that you've switched from pre-soak to tire cleaner. It's all the same thing. So definitely, please, no one do that. Okay, that's very bad practice, and it's honestly, it's kind of not good to be doing that because like people think that they're getting tire cleaner for their wheels and tires when they really could have just sprayed the whole entire car down with the high pressure soap. So they're over here spending more money on these different functions that they think are going to get them a better result. And it's the same thing. So please don't do that. The self-serve car wash industry is all about putting on a show, make sure you have a different color for each function, all right? So like for example, for me, pre-soaks blue, tire cleaners green, high pressure soap, it just puts out like a real nice white thick soap. Foam brush is pink. Wax has a little bit of like a yellowish greenish tint to it. It also looks similar to like the high pressure. And so just make sure, foam cannons as well. Make sure you've got a nice thick foam cannon that's got a different color than everything else. And it's definitely more attractive if you have a foam cannon that you can do it like multicolor, kind of like you see on this car where it changes colors like every 10 seconds. It's like a blue and a green and a pink and an orange. People will spend all day, tons of money, just so they can watch your soaps change color while they spray it on their car. So that's definitely a little tip that you need to know that you probably wouldn't know unless you, are actually in the industry. This right here might be a little controversial and might surprise a lot of you guys, but truly avoid having a dumpster on site. Okay? That right there in the right-hand side, that's a couch, okay? It's like when someone sees a dumpster, it just like makes them want to just literally treat your facility like the city dump, okay? It is not worth having a dumpster. I recommend just getting the trash cans that, you can fit 2 or 3 bags in. I have 3 of them, and I think that's honestly the best way to do it, is to just have 3 per location. And, depending on where yours is, yours may be busy, you may need 4. But yes, it cost me a little more money to get those, and the dumpster would have been free. But I really don't care because I don't want to be dealing with picking up a couch that someone sat 15 feet away from the dumpster because they just think it's like a dumping ground. So I was down there one day and I even had the city manager, he pulled in and he was like, hey, you have free dumpster service, right? And I was like, yes, I do, and I don't want it. I don't want a single bit of it. And I explained why. And also, believe it or not, if you have a dumpster on your site, right, and let's say that the dump truck with the city has to go through your parking lot to dump the trash, over time, the weight of that dump truck being so heavy will start tearing up your pavement. So it is not worth it to me to, eventually, and it would take a while for that to happen, but it does happen, have my pavement damaged because, that's expensive as it is, and then attracting that illegal dumping, absolutely not. So I recommend not getting a dumpster on your site when you get your first business. So some bonus tips. Give them a free wash occasionally. It really does make their day, and they'll keep coming back for more. If you see somebody in there washing their car, washing their clothes, give them a free wash. Give them some quarters. Now, as far as the vending machines, you guys know I'm big on adding vending machines to your site. Snack machines, drink machines, soap dispensers for a car wash, air fresheners, stuff like that. Now, make sure you're pricing those right. Vending machine prices for a car wash or a laundromat should be kind of high. I'm not saying go out there and price gouge and stuff like that, but they're paying for those products at your laundromat or car wash for convenience, right? It's usually when they've forgotten their soap or they've forgotten the dryer sheets or they forgot their dry off towel at home for the car wash. So you're providing a very convenient service, and the margins are so thin on vending machines that if you don't have them priced a little bit higher, that you're really not going to be making any money. You're just kind of going to be breaking even. So don't be afraid to price your products in the vending machines a little bit higher than normal, or that you may see at like a dollar store or something like that. Because again, it is for convenience, and it's not like you're holding a ton of inventory for the vending machine as well. You're just kind of doing that, ordering that on an as needed basis as well. So let's talk about marketing and branding now. Very, very important. This is the identity of your business and the reputation that it has, specifically nowadays online. So make sure that you create a clean, professional looking brand. You can literally get a logo that looks extremely nice, minimalistic, and professional on Fiverr for 15 bucks. Make sure that you do set up and stay active on Facebook, Instagram, and Google reviews specifically. Obviously, there's a ton of social medias out there like TikTok and stuff like that, X, which used to be Twitter. But honestly, you really don't need to go all out and above and beyond on all those different platforms. If you can just really nurture Facebook, Instagram, and Google reviews, that should really be pretty much everything you need. There's also platforms like Yelp as well, Nextdoor you could get on, stuff like that. But those are your big three, are Facebook, Instagram, and Google reviews. When you set up your Google page, make sure that you are responding to good and bad reviews both. Be very responsive on your page. Thank everybody for their good reviews and respond to those that had a bad experience. Now, the goal is obviously to have as little bad experiences and one-star reviews as you can, but unfortunately, no matter how hard you try to prevent it, bad reviews are gonna happen. So, for example, I do everything that I can to prevent a bad review. But there was this instance, and this was about 2, maybe 3 years after I'd owned it. It was the car wash, and I was needing to replace a part on a PVC pipe. That PVC pipe was connected to the main line that ran in from the city into the car wash. So that meant that in order to fix this, I was going to have to, for the first time ever, shut off all the water. So I had to completely close down. I'd never had to do that before. Because normally, if you're fixing a washer or dryer, you're fixing a bay, you just shut that individual one down. The rest of the place is up and running, and no one even knows that it's down. But this was like something I was really dreading, but I knew I was going to have to do it. And so I had gotten with a friend of mine that was going to help me fix it, and I was like, okay, we're going to go there at like 10 p.m. to do this, because I said that is the time when the least amount of people are going to be pulling up to wash their car. Now, don't get me wrong, I still do have people there like 10 p.m., 11 p.m., stuff like that, but I would rather not inconvenience 20 people at 5:30 when it's absolutely hopping. That's when everybody's off work washing their cars, as opposed to potentially inconveniencing the maybe 2 people that would be there, or maybe there would be no one there. There's not always just a steady stream of people coming in and out at 10 o'clock at night. So we had determined that was going to be the best time. So we were going to do this as fast as we could. We had everything set up. We had done as much preparing as we could. And so shut the water off. I had put cones out. I blocked the entrance. I had bought a poster board that said something like temporarily closed for maintenance, blah, blah, blah. It took us about probably 30, 45 minutes to do. We got everything back up and running. It went smooth. And so by like 10:45, everything was back up and running. It was only down like a 45-minute window, maybe less. So I was glad about that, and checked my email the next day and saw I had a 1-star review. And I was like, what? Like, where did this come from? I've never gotten a 1-star review. Someone had tried to pull in and had left a big long paragraph about how they had just gotten off work and they were going to try to come clean their car. That was the only time they had to clean their car, and that it was shut down. And I was like, no way. I tried so hard to prevent this exact thing from happening, and I get a 1-star review. So at the end of the day, I was really sad to have inconvenienced that person, but I really tried my best as well to not inconvenience as many people as I could. So I just gave a really nice response back to that, and I was like, hey, I really apologize this happened. I apologize for the inconvenience. We tried to do it at night where we wouldn't inconvenience anyone, but unfortunately that didn't happen. And I said, regardless of that, we only shut it down so that we could improve the business. So I hope to see you back and that you enjoy the improvements that were made. So tried to handle it best I could, but man, it really stinks when you've got such a great record of like 4 and 5 star reviews, and that 1 star review drags you down so much. So don't beat yourself up if you get a bad review. Just try your best to keep them at a minimum. And a really, really good tip of advice here is also, ask your customers to leave you a Google review. Maybe give them an air freshener or give them a free soap sample or something, and just say, hey, if you don't mind, go in there and give me a Google review. Those Google reviews will really pay off if you dedicate time to those, because like the higher your reviews, usually Google will show you first on whenever someone's searching for a laundromat or a car wash near them. So creating loyalty programs is another really great thing to do to keep customer retention high. That you can do that as something as simple as, if they do 10 washes, they get their 11th free, or something like that. Usually you have to do like a loyalty program through some kind of software or a company of some sorts that can set that up for you really, really easily. But you could look into doing something like that. I think that it pays off more in like the long term than it does in the short term. But that's another really good way to retain customers. And one of the best ways to grow on Facebook and Instagram is by doing giveaways. So, get on there, get your pages created, and find something that you can give away. Maybe you want to go purchase something to give away, or you could simply just give your service away. Like, hey, get 2 free washes, or get free washes for a whole month, or whatever you want to give away. But the whole premise of that is if you're giving something away, you're doing like a contest thing, they need to do something for you first. So whether that's liking your page, sharing your post, tagging 3 friends, or even all of the above, they've got to do something to earn that, getting in for that award. That's the whole premise of doing that. But that, honestly, giveaways will grow you faster than running ads ever will. So I would much rather spend $100 on a product to give away than $100 in ad spend on Facebook or Instagram to get someone to like my car wash or laundromat page. So for car wash owners specifically, a great way to grow as well is post photos of customers' cars. Like if you see maybe like an old school car pull up, or like a Corvette. I had a Lamborghini once I took a picture of and shared. Not only does that really get people's attention, but the owners will normally share that. Like the guy that owned the Lamborghini, he shared that to his Facebook page from the car wash Facebook page. So like it pushed it out to more people, and it was a really cool post that got a lot of engagement, because how often, do you see a Lamborghini? Not a lot. You can host a cars and coffee meetup. That would be really cool. And even another great thing with that is, instead of you providing the coffee yourself, reach out to like a local coffee shop and see if they would be interested in doing it, partnering with you, serving the coffee, and then you guys can kind of collab as 2 local businesses as well. There's a lot of power in collaboration and making friends with other local business owners for sure. And then, like I said earlier, working with those car dealerships to offer free car washes after a new car purchase. Very, very solid strategy right there as well. And then just scaling and future growth. So really try to be the best in your market. Make it to where someone could literally build a brand new facility next door to yours, and the best they could do would be to do what you are currently doing. Like, be uncompetable. I literally made that word up for this presentation, because you want to do things so well that no one can come in and take away what you have built. No one can come in and make the customer experience any better than you yourself has made that. So guys, I hope you really got a lot of value from this presentation. If it was very valuable to you, check out our school community in the comments. I mean, this was literally taken from a live call I did for my community. So, if you thought that was valuable, the value in my school community
is 10x what this was. So definitely click the link below, check that out, and I hope to see you inside of there. Also, if you could please like this video and subscribe, that is the biggest thank you that you could possibly give me for this material.